Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome back to another video on Lord of the Rings Home. Hope you're all having a great weekend. Today's video, I want to kind of address something that does get asked of me a fair bit, and that's what do I do with my energy? And more broadly, how do I split my energy between farming for character shards and farming for gear? And what characters that you're farming might vary a little bit. I'm going to go over who I'm farming, but I also want to show you what kind of energy is left over in terms of gear farming, but also talk about the differences between having a higher star rank character and having a higher gear tier character. Because I don't know if everyone's really kind of looked at the math in terms of the numbers, in terms of the benefits that you get for, say, having a higher gear tier and having a higher star rank. I think some people might not actually know the main differences. So I'm going to go over that in this video as well. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. And so for the purposes of this instruction, we're going to be talking about Elladan. Elladan was the most recently made farmable character. He's on Hard Light 5.9. Now, I know that not everyone is going to be able to farm this right now. I do think that overall it is easier to get to than Arwen, but that's just me and my opinions anyway. So when you are able to farm Elladan, I would definitely recommend doing this ASAP. That being said, you can see on the right-hand side here, growth stats, things like that, and the power. Now, it is currently set to 7-star level 60 gear tier 10. So we're going to roll this back a bit. First of all, we're going to roll this to 4-star, just for the purposes of this argument. And about level 45 gear tier 6. 6, yes. So we're going to do that, and we're going to recalculate what that's going to be. And so this does go down significantly. Okay, so for the purposes of where we're starting at, he's got 4,700 power, he's got 11,000 health, and 910 damage. These are typically, the health and damage are typically, I would say, like the main stats we tend to look at because they scale the most in terms of having increased of whatever, whether it's levels, star ranks, or gear tier. And I kind of want to show you how this changes just from level 45 with the star ranks. But I want to kind of, actually, let's start with the gear tier. So let's break this down. Gear tier is additive. So no matter what your star rank is going to be, whether it's 4-star, 5-star, 6-star, 7-star, whatever, your gear tier is a flat addition to your stats. It does not scale with your star rank. What does scale with the star rank is your levels. So if you have, for example, a 4-star, 3-star, level 60 character, it's not going to be the same as a 6 or 7-star character because all of the stats that are within the level itself is being multiplied by the star rank multiplier. So you're gonna actually see a lot more improvement in terms of the stats and the star rank than you will with the gear tier. But just for sake of argument, let's take this same character, this Elladan, from 4-star. I don't know if it'll let me actually because I don't know if you can do it at 45. But let's take it from from gear tier 6 to gear tier 8. And take a look at the 11,000 hit points and the 910 damage. I'll try to remember that myself. So we're going to see what happens when you change this to gear tier 8. And he goes up to 15,000. So that was like what? 11,000 to 15,000. That's about 4,000 and about a 200 damage increase. So from going from 900 to 1,100, that's about a effective increase of like 18%, I believe 18 to 20%. And then 11,000 to 15,000 health, it's a little bit more. I think that's more in the 30 to 35% range. That being said, let's scale this back again and see what happens without the gear tier. And if you were to just, say, increase the star rank and how that changes things. So I want to go back to reset this. I would actually recommend using LotR.gg because it's a really good resource in terms of being able to figure this out and what you want to do with your characters as well. So he's at 4-star. Let's bump this up to 5-star and just see how much that changes. If we get even close to the 15,000 at all. We might not with a 5-star yet. So I didn't think so. The hugest jump is actually 6 to 7-star. Honestly, even 6-star is pretty crazy. So this means that going from 4-star to 5-star is not equivalent. It's not better than going from gear tier 6 to gear tier 8. So even though it's additive, but let's go one step further. Actually, the damage was about the same. So not in the health category, but in the damage category, it was equal to the same. So adding a 5th star onto Eladin was basically equivalent to the gear in terms of your the damage stat, but not for the health. Let's go with one more. Now, obviously, you can do both, and shard farming does take a little bit longer than it would probably to get you the gear for it. This is just more to to question what your priorities are in terms of your energy spending. So a 6 star will be way more in the damage category for sure. And it will surpass the amount of stats that you're getting from the health. Reason why I'm using gear tier 8 as kind of a metric is because purple gear is just not really available. So for most of us, gear tier 8 is the cap. So that's 16,368 health. I want to go one step further. I know this is actually, you know what? And then let's talk about the level. Actually, let's go back to 5 star, and then let's go to the levels. And I know that levels are a bit harder to get, but let's just so before we were at, what was it? I forget, 15,000 I think with gear tier 8. But the levels make a huge difference. Let's just go to 50 and see what happens to this number here and see if it actually gets towards the 15,000 HP level. And it does, actually. So that makes a big difference. I should have started with that, honestly. So because the star ranks are multiplied by both your raw level, that's why it's super important. So having 5 extra levels and 1 more star rank from 4 to 5 was enough to surpass, because we're at 1,200, surpass the amount of stats that you would gain from the gear. It's honestly pretty crazy. And if you add on the levels, yes, you can have both of these things, but the star ranks, so just go 5 more levels to 55 and see how that changes the health. Again, up to 18,000. And then level 60 is going to be 60 is huge. Honestly, I have 60 Eladin, and it's pretty bonkers at 5 star. So that goes from 18,000 to 25. And then if you go take level 60 is pretty easy to get as long as you save your money right. Eventually you'll get there, and that's not a big problem. Obviously, the star ranks will be a different story, but this is still a gear tier 6, and the numbers before were like what? It was 15,000 and 15,000 HP and 1,100 damage, I think it was, for gear tier 8. Of level 45. And then let's just throw a 6 star on there as well, and it just jumps to like 26,000. It's honestly just really crazy in terms of the stats that go up. And I know I don't really have that many 7 star characters myself, but just for sheer shits and giggles, it's just the amount that it ramps up with is just honestly bonkers. I have characters that are reaching 7 star but are honestly close to about gear tier 6 or 7. I have Aylmer, who is level... Did I get him to 60? I think I did. Aylmer, yeah, I got him to level 60, and he's sitting at gear tier 6. Because it doesn't actually matter that much, because you're getting more stats, raw stats, from the levels and the gear tier. He's just under 100 shards from 7 star, and hopefully it won't take me maybe another 2 weeks, I don't know, to get him to 7 star, and I'm going to see a huge... massive increase. Now, I would love to get some of the gear tiers on these characters, but you're going to be crunched by energy, the crystals, for a start, because I don't farm those crystal nodes anymore. Now that the star rank change came in, shard farming is more important than ever, because you'll see the most long-term stat increases, I think, from having those star ranks rather than the gear, which can come secondary to that. So I want to talk about, now that we've kind of put that into perspective a little bit, and if that I didn't really make that clear, I really do want to make that clear even more so, that star ranks, in my opinion, are the most, and they've said it themselves, they said it in their blog posts and things like that it is the number one highest indicator of your strength, of your power, of your character power, is going to be in the star rank category. So a lot of my characters are actually starting to reach various star rank increases, which is why I'm saving my gold, because I'm going to have to do this on a bunch of characters. I'm probably going to do this on Feely and Killy, but I also have Lelio coming up on 6 star, Lelio, Naramiri, and Lomian, all of them for Elrond, hopefully coming up on 6 star, and Wubate, soon to be 7 star, Strider coming up on 7 star, honestly, wherever the hell he is, he's down here somewhere, I guess. 55 shards, so that's 11 days. I'm going to have a Strider at 7 star, so that's going to be even insane. And then Aylmer, of course. So there's a lot of characters on my roster that are coming up the way to their 6th and 7th star, and 5 star for some of them, actually. So really looking forward to that. And so the second part of the video here is I want to kind of go over my energy spending and what's left over. So this is my current shard farm. The reason why there's gaps is just because of the different chapters. And we have Light Side on the left and Shadow on the right. So we have Eothane, Yeftu. They're in the same hard mode chapter 1, I believe. Lomian, Keely, Eladin, and then on the shadow side we have Eowyn, Fro, Leliel, Robel, Feely, and Arwen now. So I am able to farm all of these, and this brings me to an energy total of 760. Now, if you do everything and you're able to do all 3 crystal refreshes for your energy, which I know not everyone is going to be able to do, so take this with a grain of salt a little bit. So your time-based energy is 288. That's just your daily, like, your ticking of your time coming back, basically. And then 360 if you do all your crystal refreshes. 135, which is your 45 energy time-based free refreshes that you get throughout the day, and then you get 85 from your daily objective. It's really just 2. It's the light-based objective, and then the chest gives you 85, and that gives you a grand total of 868. So that's your daily total of energy that you're going to be able to get to spend on whatever you want. But as you can see with what I'm spending, this actually only leaves like 100 energy for me to use on gear, which isn't a lot. But you know, that actually is the reason I think why I'm starting to stack up on my crystals a little bit, because I haven't found it as big of a priority. Now, where I would use your crystals actually the most, you could use it on your arena team, but if you're someone who's trying to build a 3-star marquee team, that's where you would actually see the biggest improvement. Would be for characters that you can't get additional star ranks on. So for me, that was actually, it is sort of going to be the Haradrim characters, Tebeb the Sage and Bakelu, because I did not buy their offers. I can't farm them for about 2 months or whatever. So where I will see the biggest improvement with gear will be on the characters that I can't get star ranks for, because I have no other way to bump their stats up. And so that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now. But otherwise, if characters are farmable, and my stupid button clicked on Robel, that, you know, you will see the biggest improvements in star ranks where you don't actually need gear necessarily to get their star ranks up. Now, where is Aomer? So I do have a lot of light crystal sitting around just because I'm not actively gearing as much, because I'm not spending as much energy on that. I have like 320 luminous crystals, which I do need to get onto spending. As far as who that's going to go on to, I'm not really sure at this point. I don't shard farm that frequently. I probably want to finish off Strider, actually, because he's coming up on 7-star, to be honest. So I'll probably end up working on those. You know, it's the elf gear. It's all super pain in the ass to farm. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a slow. So between the store purchases and what's left over on my energy, I don't really have a lot of place. So the essences I'm fine with, crystals I'm fine with. It's the other stuff that I need to look out for in the store and try to farm a little bit, but still shard farming is way more important to me. And actually, I might not have any energy left over, because sometimes I do refresh Eladin's node once, possibly. I'm doing quite well in the arena, so that is something. I am in gold 1, just below mithril usually is where I hang out. So I do get enough to be able to do all of my refreshes per day, so that's something there. But as far as what characters that you're going to want to farm, this might vary, right? Just, the characters that I'm farming aren't necessarily the characters that you're going to be farming. This is the whole list of light and shadow characters on both sides of the field. You might be farming some Isengard, whereas I'm not doing that. There might be some other characters on here that you're Return to Rivendell, maybe, that you want to do a little bit further. And so I'm not going to say what's right or wrong necessarily for you, and I'm not telling you to farm the characters that I'm farming. I'm just saying that this is, it's helpful for me to kind of know how much energy that I'm spending every single day, so then I know kind of what's left over for gear, which isn't a whole lot. But hopefully, maybe by the time these characters are like 7-star, maybe I could drop some of them off, but I know that I'm just going to move to farming something else. So really, at the end of the day, what am I saying? Well, I think that shard farming is a bigger priority. I think that at least 75% of your energy is probably going to go towards farming shards. Because I think while it might seem a little slow, I think in the long term, you're going to get the biggest value in terms of the overall increase, whether it's just the flat out increase from the star rank or from the levels that you get for having those characters at level 60 with said star rank. You're going to see a huge improvement that way. So what I would focus on is definitely your characters that are more on the top of your star levels. Those are the investments that you should be making with your roster. So I hope that some of this helped. And until the next video that I do on Lord of the Rings, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.